Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So I am so excited to talk about today's video, man, because we are going to be talking about somebody that I've been watching since his freshman year of college, and that is Caris LeVert. So according to league sources, the Cleveland Cavaliers are heavy players to trade for Baby Durantula, man, at some point during the season, probably sooner rather than later, because as we all know, the Indiana Pacers, as we kind of discussed in the video the other day, are going into a full-on rebuild mode, and they are trading away some of their veteran pieces and just some of the guys that doesn't really fit that rebuild, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are a team that's looking to scoop up one or two of those guys, as they have really just, I don't know, man, like, there's nothing that gets me more excited than a team that does like a proper rebuild. And it's just so exciting right now if you are a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because literally, in my opinion, everything they have done within the last few seasons has been flawless. And it's an exciting time, man. It's like, especially the reason that I really root for the Cavaliers in this case is because, you know, for so long it was LeBron's team. It was, you know, you live and die by LeBron James. But now the Cleveland Cavaliers are getting to the point where they're just like, hey, no, we don't need King James. Like, we know how to properly build a team over here. And within the next few seasons, we are going to be contending for an NBA championship, man. So, yes, before we get going on today's video, if you guys don't mind leaving a like and, of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel, let me know in the comment section below also, man. Like, what type of trade do you personally think gets Caris LeVert over on the Cleveland Cavaliers? Because first, let's actually talk about Caris. Like, what could he bring to the team? Who exactly is he as a player? Well, I think the important thing to note out is that he is 27, so it's not like he's like some young player anymore. He's in the prime of his NBA career. I would say that typically, you know, as an NBA player, in most cases, unless you're like a superstar, 27 is like the peak of the peak. Then at that point, you know, you can kind of coast slowly for the next few seasons before having the big drop off due to age. So yeah, Caris LeVert, not exactly a young player anymore, kind of fits like the mold of maybe like, I don't know, man, look at the roster right now. They got like Ricky Rubio, Dean Wade, Dylan Windler, you know, some of the guys like that are not by any stretch like old NBA players, but just guys that you want, you know, as a locker room presence, you know, as veterans and whatnot, right, man? So yeah, he's a little bit older. Another thing about Caris LeVert is that going back literally to his freshman season of college, he's very injury prone. To the point where I think if you are a fan of the Cavaliers, you have to be respectful in your trade proposal and not give up something crazy because you are taking on a guy that is injury prone. I do think any sort of basis of a trade, as we'll go through in a little bit here, probably involves, you know, maybe a young player, but also some draft picks, things like that the Pacers would actually want, and then obviously making the salary match and everything work too. But yeah, he's an injury prone player. That's something you have to worry about, right? And the next thing with Caris LeVert, as far as like his style of play, right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe they are like 20th in the NBA in offensive rating. With him, you know, as part of the team, I would say that he's probably, I like him at the shooting guard spot. I think he can play the shooting guard spot, maybe a little bit of small ball, you know, at the three. And in some cases, I actually like Caris LeVert handling the basketball, so I wouldn't mind seeing him at point guards, you know, time and time again too. But he's somebody that could play with Ricky Rubio or Darius Garland. And, when it comes down to it, the way that Caris plays, that, you know, you give him the basketball, you can run the isolation for him, and, you know, run the pick and pop, pick and roll, whatever you really need to do. Like, this guy can score in a lot of different ways. He's always been, you know, good with the rock in his hands. Now, offensively speaking, though, as far as his shooting numbers go, not like the greatest three-point shooter throughout his NBA career. He's around like a career average of about 33%, which is, you know, that's fine. Like, if it's going down, it's going down. But on the NBA season, he's only at about 26-27%, so he kind of falls into that realm of players that are kind of struggling with their shot right now. But that's okay. That's, you know, that's stuff that I really think comes down to not only like motivation. If the Pacers not really winning a lot of games, I don't really know how motivated Caris LeVert is every single time. Also comes down to coaching, a lot of different things like that too. Going to a different team, new scenario, definitely gives you, you know, a little bit of just motivation again, right? But also what's pretty exciting about this too is, like, he's got chemistry with guys on the team, you know, like Jared Allen. I mean, who's been a beast starting center for him. So as far as fitting in with guys like that, or even having a veteran in Ricky Rubio, or having a future superstar in Darius Garland, that's going to make that transition pretty dang seamless, to the point where I think he's going to help out literally right away. Like, I love everything about this. Do I like him as a starter? It depends on the lineup. But I do think Caris LeVert, you know, with his injury history, but also his ability to initiate the offense, I kind of like him in maybe like a Jordan Clarkson type of role as a six-man. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think a lot of great teams, they all have that go-to six-man. And I think it could actually work out a lot if he was to do that. You know, still continue with your Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro backcourt. And obviously, Rubio plays a lot in the backcourt, Darius Garland too. But, have Rubio and Caris LeVert come together off the bench and stuff. I think that's not a bad way to look at things. Or you could obviously put him in the starting lineup and based off what the trade is and see if that works too. He's got good length to him. He's like 6'6", 6'7", so that's completely fine. But what type of trades actually work here? Like, what trades get this done? And this is where it gets kind of confusing because, like I said, you don't want to give up too much, but also the Pacers are going to rebuild to the point where it's like they want to get some sort of assets back. So I've heard people mention guys along the line of, like, Isaac Okoro. I personally am not trading Okoro. He's only, in the second year of his NBA career. I still think he's going to be one of the greatest defensive players in the NBA, and once the offense comes together even more so, it's like he'll be completely fine there. So I probably would not give up Okoro. It just... I don't know, man. Like I said, it comes down to Caris LeVert again. It's like, is he worth giving up on like a 20-year-old potential defensive beast specialist, like shooting guard? I just don't really think it's the case. Another guy that's been mentioned as far as like somebody that could go there and help them with the rebuild is like a Colin Sexton. Now, if you're a Cavaliers fan, let me know how you feel about that. The reason I actually like this trade for both sides is because, well, we know fact of the matter is that they are playing really good basketball without Colin Sexton on their team. We do know that he is looking for an extension, but he's coming off a major injury and everything. He's not going to play for the rest of the season. So I know there's Cavs fans out there that love the Darius Garland, Colin Sexton backcourt. I actually really like Colin Sexton. I think he's a great NBA player, but you also got to call it like you see it out there. The team has been playing better without him on the court. So there's nothing wrong with that. And there's a good chance he comes back to the team, goes right to the 2 spot, and helps them win even more. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to trade Colin Sexton, I totally get that too. But trading him over to the Pacers, that already gives them a 23-year-old shooting guard who, yes, is coming off an injury and everything, but it's still kind of something to work with there. And I think that's kind of a fair type of trade, especially with the injury, because you're trading injured player for injured player. Caris LeVert's ready to go now. Colin Sexton will be ready to go in the future, right, man? Another guy that people were kind of talking about was the idea of doing like a Lauri Markkanen type of swap. And with that, we know Lauri Markkanen has been playing the small forward position for the Cleveland Cavaliers. While it has been working with the tall ball and everything like that, I still think Lauri is a four in the NBA. I think he's a power forward with additional time, at the center spot, if it looks to work out. So, you trade him over to the Pacers, who we know are looking to get rid of Sabonis and Miles Turner, then you could see where that kind of makes sense. But also at the same time, Lauri Markkanen is already 24. I mean, Miles Turner is 24, Sabonis is 25. So is it much of a rebuild if you're doing that? I guess with Lauri Markkanen, especially if you are getting rid of Sabonis, is that you still could get like a quality 4 out there, but you're not paying like that Sabonis type of money, right? So I guess that kind of makes sense from that standpoint. But I think when it all comes down to it, I'm looking, to toss in filler salary to make it work for Caris LeVert. And then I'm tossing like a draft pick or two, man. Like I said, we all know the Pacers are sellers right now. They don't have to get crazy with the trade or anything like that. Like, get something back for Caris, get off his contract and everything, and you'll be completely fine. But it's not going to be an absolute home run getting somebody like an Isaac Okoro, in my opinion. Now, if the Cavaliers were to pull that off, or were to do that, I would say, okay, probably not the greatest choice, but no, man, the Cavaliers are in such an exciting place right now. I mean, just a lot of their guys, mainly being Garland and Evan Mobley, have progressed so much quicker than anticipated, where now it's to the point where, okay, like, these guys are ready to go. Like, we thought this was going to be like 2 or 3 years down the road, not literally right now. And then, having just the veteran presence of Ricky Rubio and everything, and being able to now kind of like point out, okay, like, this is an area where we could probably strengthen our game, and being able to do those trades now and get those guys, in there now to work on chemistry and everything is a big time W. So Caris LeVert brings some offense, some playmaking, some good length to him. Yes, injury prone, but when it comes down to it, I think he would be a great, great addition to this Cleveland Cavaliers team without giving up too much to get him, man. So you guys let me know in the comment section below. What do you think a Caris LeVert trade looks like? That's all we have for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.